we are required to calculate operating ratio from the following information. The information includes sales and sales return, opening stock, purchases, closing stock and other operating expenses. Now students, we know that operating ratio is equal to operating expenses upon net sales into 100. So the first component, that is net sales, can be calculated by subtracting sales return from sales. That is sales minus sales return, which in this case would be 10,20,000 minus sales return of 20,000. So net sales would be 10 lakh. Now students, coming to the numerator part. The numerator part includes cost of goods sold plus other operating expenses. The sum of these two is equal to operating expenses. Here other operating expenses are directly given to us. So we need to calculate cost of goods sold first. So cost of goods sold are equal to or would be equal to opening stock plus purchases. Remember, in this case no purchase return is mentioned here, so it would be your net purchase only. So then opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Now substituting the values, opening stock is 70,000 plus purchases is 5,30,000 minus closing stock here is 1 lakh. So we get an answer of 6 lakh minus 1 lakh, that is rupees 5 lakh. So now students, we have net sales of 10 lakh and cost of goods sold of rupees 5 lakh. Let us use this cost of goods sold to calculate operating expenses. That is, we will add cost of goods sold and other operating expenses. Now when we add them, it would be expressed as cost of goods sold plus other operating expenses. The cost of goods sold that we had calculated was rupees 5 lakh. The other operating expenses mentioned here are rupees 1 lakh. So we have total numerator as rupees 6 lakhs. Now students, we have both the numerator and the denominator for this ratio. So let us calculate the operating ratio. The formula for operating ratio is this is cost of goods sold plus other operating expenses upon net sales into 100. Now students, the numerator we had just calculated was equal to rupees 6 lakhs. That would be 6 lakh divided by net sales. The net sales in this question is 10 lakhs into 100 would make it equal to 60%. That means the operating profit ratio for this particular question comes out to 60%. Now an analysis of this ratio would reveal that out of every 100 rupees sales that we are earning or we are making, 60% is going out to meet your operating expenses. Students, there is another ratio, that is operating profit ratio, which is very closely related to operating ratio. Now remember, operating profit ratio. We had just discussed that operating ratio is an expenses ratio. So there is a complementary part to it, that is operating profit ratio. And there is a simple relation between operating profit ratio and operating ratio, that is operating profit ratio plus operating ratio is always equal to 100%. So now students, let us continue with the same example. In the previous example, we had calculated operating ratio as 60%. So if somebody wants to know what is the operating profit ratio, so operating profit ratio plus 60% is equal to 100. That means operating profit ratio for this question would be, subtracting it, that is 40%. Obviously, I have not used percentage signs here, but the answer is in terms of percentage.